It started with black sludge in the basement. The air in the house was different, chemical, metallic. Children came home from school with rashes. Pets died suddenly. Garden plants curled and browned. And then the basements began to flood, not with water, but with something thicker. Something that smelled like cleaning solvent and motor oil and rot all mixed together. It was the mid-1970s in Niagara Falls, New York. Love Canal was supposed to be a quiet suburb, a perfect place to raise a family. Rows of pastel homes, a new elementary school, corner stores, trimmed lawns. But something was wrong underneath. Literally. Because beneath the foundations, just below the streets and playgrounds, lay a toxic secret. Over 21,000 tons of buried chemical waste. 3 decades earlier, Hooker Chemical Company had used the abandoned canal site as a private dump. They filled it with barrels of industrial byproducts, dioxins, PCBs, pesticides, acids, and sealed it with a clay cap. Then they sold the land to the school board for $1, with a warning in fine print. And so, an entire neighborhood was built on top of poison. By the time the odors started rising, it was too late. Children playing in empty lots developed nosebleeds. Women miscarried. Birth defects were reported. School staff began falling ill. Some homes were so contaminated that the floorboards warped and cracked. In winter, chemical vapors drifted through heating vents. In summer, oily pools bubbled up into backyards. Residents complained. Officials stalled. Experts took air samples and promised results would take weeks. In the meantime, families stayed, many unable to afford to move. The people of Love Canal were told it was probably nothing, probably safe, probably unrelated. Then came the photographs. A local reporter captured barrels poking through the soil behind the school. Dozens of them, rusted, leaking, some marked with red hazard symbols. Children had been walking over them on the way to recess. The photos spread fast. Suddenly, the neighborhood had a name and a scandal. Love Canal became national news. Protesters marched. Mothers held signs with their children's medical records. Reporters interviewed sick families. And finally, under mounting pressure, the state declared a public health emergency. Over 800 families were evacuated, but many more were left behind. Some homes were bought out, others were fenced off. But no one could undo the years of exposure, the illnesses, the soil contamination, the birth defects, the fear. People wanted justice, but couldn't even get straight answers. Government agencies pointed fingers. Hooker Chemical blamed the city for building on the land. The city blamed Hooker for not making the risk clear, and while they argued, residents got sicker. One mother, Lois Gibbs, became the unlikely face of the movement. Her son had been diagnosed with epilepsy and liver problems. She began organizing door to door, collecting testimonies, tracking cases. She fought for every family, stood toe to toe with officials, testified before Congress, and refused to let the story die. She didn't stop until the federal government finally acted. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter approved emergency funds to relocate hundreds more families. It was a victory. But it came after years of exposure, cover-ups, and institutional denial. And it raised a deeper question: how many other places were built on buried lies? Love Canal became a symbol, a warning, a case study in negligence. It led to the creation of the EPA's Superfund program, an attempt to identify and clean up the worst toxic waste sites across the country. But for the people who had lived there, it wasn't enough. Today, parts of Love Canal are still fenced off, empty, quiet. Some of the surrounding area was resettled, but many former residents never returned. Some died young. Others live with chronic illness, wondering if the ground they stood on decades ago still holds them in its grip. They were never told the truth. They were never given a choice, just a house, a mortgage, a key, and poison beneath the floorboards. Thank you for listening to Road to Ruins. Subscribe for more true stories where systems fail and people pay the price.